Hi, and welcome back to ENTP Life. In today's video, as the title suggests, we're going to be going over the secret to success. Now, there's tons of books out there, tons of motivational speakers who are all going over the same exact topic. And you know what? We're all saying the same exact thing, and it's time that you guys pay attention to this and pay attention to it clearly. Now, before we get started, please hit that like button. I always ask for a like. Why? Because YouTube likes it. If you like a YouTube video, it helps YouTube know that people are interested in the content and helps to rank and promote it a little bit higher. As I'm trying to grow this channel, your likes mean just about everything to me. Secondary to that, I need you to hit that subscription button. Subscribing to my channel keeps you up to date with what we're talking about, what we're going over. Here at ENTP Life, we really touch on everything, mostly real estate, mostly business, but every now and then I go into these motivational rants or anything that's really on my mind that I feel that I could contribute some value to the world or just share my damn opinion. So now let's get into the bulk of this video. In my life, what I observed, especially as a kid growing up in what I would consider to be more of an urban, middle-class, minority neighborhood, that this concept of success or wealth was such a thing that was out of the reach of the common man in some way. It was always expressed that you had to be born rich or you had to be an athlete or lucky to win the lottery, stupid things like that, to find this uber level of success or to hit that millionaire mark. And it's not really true, especially here in America. I know in other countries, you might have to be born rich to even be able to advance yourself, which is unfortunate. But the United States is truly the land of opportunity when it comes to generating wealth. There's really no excuse for anybody to not be successful in this country. We have free internet in the libraries, in most schools, and the internet obviously opens you up to all of the world's ideas. Like literally you could Google how to become a millionaire or YouTube how to become a millionaire, and there's going to be hundreds of videos of people telling you how they became a millionaire or how they made their first million or something along those lines with step-by-step routes to get to that point. So the concept of I don't have information, I'm not privy to information is total bollocks, it's total BS. Everything that you need is out there. It's just about you channeling yourself and focusing on what your skill sets are to allow you to hit whatever it is that's going to allow you to have this success. So in my opinion, and in the opinions of many, the secret to success is as simple as taking action towards the goal that you set. That's it. All you need to do is set your goal and then start acting on that goal. And secondary to that, all you need to do is not quit. And it sounds too simple. It sounds unbelievable, I know, but it's really the truth. And it's really important that you have a clear goal set out, a clear goal in mind, so that you know what it is that you're reaching for. If you just say, hey man, I want to be successful, right? You're going to be searching for this thing that is not clearly defined, right? What is success to you? What does it mean for you to be at that successful point in your life? Does it mean to be retired and living solely off of residual income? If that answer is yes, then how much income is sufficient? So if you were to say, hey, you know what, I would consider myself successful if I could replace my job with residual income, making $5,000 a month, because with that $5,000 a month, I could pay my bills and spend time with my kids and do a little bit of traveling and not suffer too much of a change in quality of life. That number may be higher, maybe 10,000, maybe 25,000, maybe 100,000, maybe $1 million a month, whatever that number is. Please be specific with what your target is, with what your goal is. Because if you're not specific with it, you're going to be swimming or looking for this thing that is not properly defined. So you have to be very specific with what your goals are and what you believe to be successful. Now, if it's just some altruistic thing that you can't measure, that you can't see and touch, it's this feeling, then that's just a state of mind, right? You need to convince yourself that you are satisfied with whatever it is that you're doing, And there you go. But that's a much harder thing to do. So the best thing for me is to be very clear with what my targets are, with what my goals are, so that when I hit that goal, I feel that I am successful in the things that I pursued. I hope that makes sense to you. That I feel successful in the things that I have pursued. So if I told myself, for instance, in 2019, I'm going to add at least 12 properties to my portfolio. For me to be here in August and nearing on that number, I feel very successful in completing my goal for 2019. My future goal in the next 7 years is to have $100 million of real estate assets under management. So when I hit that number in 7 years or in 5 years, I will feel successful. So you need to set these targets, and then you need to take action towards those targets. And I guarantee you, as you set the target and you start to move towards it, you'll see that you're going to have to adjust your plans. You're going to have to modify your strategy. You're going to have to educate yourself. You're going to have to partner with people. You're going to have to seek advice from others. And as you're working towards your goal, you're going to find it and you're going to hit it. For example, it's no different than setting a destination on your GPS. You say, hey, I'm currently in Freeport, New York, and I want to go to Albany. You type in the address, and you're clear as to what your final destination is going to be. Or you want to go to Great Adventures. You're clear what your final destination is. And then it's a matter of, how am I going to get there? Am I going to take the bus? Am I going to take a plane? Am I going to ride my bicycle? Am I going to walk? Etc. Then you're going to roadmap the best path for you. How am I going to get there? And of course, there's going to be detours. There's going to be traffic obstructions. There's going to be the occasional flat tire. Do I have a spare? Do I have a provision for that? But eventually, if you say, hey, I'm going to Albany, you're going to make it. Your car may break down and catch fire on the way. You know what you're going to do? You're going to decide, hey, you know what? I'm either going to hail a Uber, or I'm going to just find a bus that's en route, find a bus station, hop on a bus, and I'm making it to Albany because I have to be there for whatever the reason is. So once you have it in your mind that there's this thing that you want to do and you start moving towards it, you just have to keep on that path. And chances are you're going to achieve that goal. What ends up happening with people is that they put their goal on some sort of pedestal and they convince themselves that it's not for them. Only X can do this. Only rich people have the ability. Things like that are complete excuses for yourself. You set yourself up for your own failure by putting this limit on yourself. It's ridiculous. So you have to get into the mindset that anything that anybody else has, as far as what you believe to be success, is something that you could have too. And you need to, whenever you come across one of those mental roadblocks, like, you know what, if I was just born rich and I had $10 million, then I could just go and buy this $10 million worth of assets that spins off 10% a year, and I would be making $1 million a year. I'd be happy, right? No. Then the goal is, how do I get $10 million, right? Because I don't have it right now. So how do I get $10 million to do this? Do I go around begging? Do I go around trying to raise money? Do I go around selling equipment? What can I do that's going to help me make $10 million? That's the next step. And then you start working backwards from whatever that ultimate goal is, whatever that success ceiling is for you or target is for you, and you'll figure it out. That's the way that it's always worked in my life. Any goal that I set for myself, I've hit. I want to start a business? What is that business going to be? That business is going to be a real estate investment company. And what is this real estate investment company going to do? We're going to create shared office space. Now, I have this business that's currently working really well, and it started out just like that, sitting in a shared office space, saying, hey, you know what, this landlord's a bozo, and I really don't like how he manages this space. I'm pretty sure I could do it better. The idea was born, it was in my head, I want to have a shared or co-working space. So then I said, well, how much is this going to cost me? And what should I expect as far as construction costs? So I started looking at spaces that were similar in size, right? It was like a 42 office space in an old warehouse, and that was converted into office, done in a very cheap, shoddy way. And I was like, well, I know I can do this better for a little more money. I don't have to spend a fortune to do this. And those 42 offices, he was charging $600 per an office. So that's damn near $25,000 in monthly rent. And I was like, that would be pretty good. And at the time, a floor plate that could hold 42 offices was renting for about $5,000 or $6,000 in Long Island City, Queens. But these were empty, vacant office spaces. And then I realized that the build out was going to be super expensive. So then I started thinking, hey, you know what? Maybe if I just find something that's close to built out, similar to what I want, it's going to be cheaper. Then I started thinking, if I just found something that was already built out, I'm not going to have to lay out as much upfront money, because that's what was a big problem with building out my space. It's like, well, I could rent this space. I'm going to have to put down 3 or 6 months security deposit for a commercial space. And then I got to spend a few $100,000 building this office. And at the time, I didn't have I think I had like 15 grand to my name. So it was like, well, how am I going to do this with $15,000? Obviously, I had it in mind to raise money from a few different sources and make something happen. But with $100,000 or $200,000 build out, I was like, this is making it somewhat out of reach. If I just quit there and I didn't have the goal of still doing this office space, then I wouldn't have succeeded. I would have just said, oh, I don't have enough money, and I would have walked away. But what did I do instead? I started looking for things that were built out. And then I started looking for things that were built out that fit my current business model, because I was working on a fashion tech application. And I said, you know what? Maybe I should locate my office space so that there's synergy with other like-minded businesses. And I settled on setting up an office space in what was the garment district of New York City. So this was like Midtown West, right around Penn Station area. And I found an office space that was small and only was able to hold about 10 different offices. And it fell within my budget. Why? Because it was already built out, and I could manage with the deposits and furnishing and everything else. And it was a very cheap. I think it cost about $67,000 to get this space up and running. That was security deposits, furniture, redecorating the space. And in just 3 months, we were at full occupancy. Or I think it was 4 months. We were at full occupancy. And since it was Manhattan, the office spaces were more expensive. And at the 10 offices, we were doing just about $10,000 of monthly revenue. And this allowed me to test my concept, right? Rather than just going big for the 42 offices, I was able to test it and prove that it worked. Once I was able to test the concept and it was generating money, what happens? You have something to show the public. You have something to show potential investors. Here's my prototype. Here's my idea. Now invest in me and my idea. And we have successfully grown that into over 40 offices that it's spinning off way more than that $25,000 per month mark. And it's good. And I felt that operation was a success. Okay? So what did I do there? I set a goal. I had an idea, first of all. I had this realization that I wanted something for myself. And then I said, well, I'm going to do it. I'm going to open a shared office space somewhere in New York City that's going to allow me to leave the office space that I'm in, generate some revenue, and create an environment that I like more for myself. That was the goal. And then I started working towards that goal. I came across some hurdles, too expensive to build, not enough money. How am I going to do it? How am I going to do it? How am I going to do it? Constantly asking myself that question, and not just getting stuck in the loop of the question, but asking myself the question and coming up with the answer for those questions. If you get stuck in the loop of how, it's not going to work for me, I need the rich uncle, I need this, I need that, instead of saying how and answering the question, you won't be successful. You're just going to be stuck in a circle. And that's the biggest problem that a lot of people have. Like I said, they put this ceiling on themselves, or they stay in the circle of analysis paralysis or finding reasons for why they shouldn't do it. And it boils down to maybe their risk profile, what they're able to tolerate as far as risk are concerned. But if you find yourself not hitting your targets, if you find yourself not satisfied with where you are in life, I guarantee if you really be honest with yourself and look at what's happening, you're in one of those two phases. You're either victimizing yourself by saying it's not possible because of whatever condition you have, or you are stuck in some sort of fear cycle. And both of those can be addressed once you identify what's stopping you from being successful, right? Another thing is, if you're addicted to drugs and alcohol, man, I'm sorry, but that's really a big handicap. There's 6 people who are on drugs who are successful or appear to be successful in the eyes of the public. Alcoholics who may be successful in the eyes of the public. But one thing's for sure, if you're using drugs and alcohol regularly and it's you really are addicted, there's no way that you're performing at 100%. And if you're not performing at 100%, you're just reducing your chances of success. You're not eliminating your success, but you're greatly inhibiting yourself. Drugs and alcohol are going to make you more anxious. They're going to make you more lethargic. And being anxious when you're trying to achieve your goals, it's only going to feed you this negative cycle. For instance, I drink, right? And I have I would say a problem with drinking, right? And what that problem is that I will drink till I get drunk, right? If I'm in party mode, I'm drinking till I get drunk. And if I'm on vacation, that may be 4 or 5 days in a row. By day number 4 or 5 of being on a bender, I get this crazy anxiety, right? And you know what happens when I'm anxious? I sit there and it's like I'm sort of paralyzed, right? I don't work as quickly. I second guess myself a lot. I'll wake up from my sleep thinking, Carl, you see, you got drunk yesterday again, and it's 3 a.m. and you have this problem in your company that really needs fixing. What the hell are you doing on vacation drinking? And I'll just beat myself up. And what I realize is that will pass once my alcohol levels come down. But that's such a killer. It even has led me to drink less and be more conscious about how much I consume, because I don't need that negative voice in my head telling me that I'm messing up because I'm on vacation, that I should be at my desk working, that you saw that G chat today, there's this little problem that's being neglected, but I'm beating myself up about it. So if you're on drugs and alcohol and you're coming down from that high or coming down from being drunk, chances are you've messed with your neurotransmitters and they're triggering all kinds of feelings and ideas that aren't quite there and aren't quite real. And that's going to inhibit any kind of action that you're taking. So I guess this is my platform to say, hey, you know what, if you're addicted to drugs and alcohol, and you don't feel that you're making it, then you really need to address that drug and alcohol problem, because it's definitely getting in the way of your success. And I've seen it happen with a lot of my friends who've in my opinion had incredible talent, very witty, smart, charismatic people who just kind of fell into this hole of holding, right? Not really going anywhere, and because they haven't hit their targets, they're more and more depressed. So I that's just something that I guess was on my mind as I was talking about this. But just to bring this full circle, I want to be clear. The secret to success is setting your target, taking action, and not quitting. Simple as that. Thank you for joining me here at ENTP Life. Once again, if you're not already a subscriber, hit that subscription button. If you haven't yet and you made it to this point of the video, that means that you definitely liked it. So if you're still here, you owe me that like, please. So hit that like button And leave any questions or comments in the comment section below. If you have found that this thinking is exactly what you needed, I want to hear from you. So let me know if this has motivated you in some sort of way. Write in the comment section below. If you have any tips to anybody else who is watching this, comments, man. Comments are really what I'm looking for. I'm looking to engage. If you look at my comment history, I answer all of them. I engage with every single person who's taken the time out to make a comment. They usually have questions. They usually have concerns. And I'm here for you guys, man. So once again, thank you for joining me at ENTP Life. Take care.